Hey guys, I wanted to share something with you guys. This is a long one, it goes beyond the 10 minutes, so if you have time, I appreciate you listening. But there's no way to get it shorter because I got a lot to tell and it's worth sharing. So I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, I wanted to share a dream that I had that I would call the holiday party dream. And this was quite a while back. It was actually about 4 years ago. And around that time, I was kind of freshly excited about pursuing the Lord. It was kind of like being born again, you could say. And I was pursuing God in fresh new ways, learning how to spend time in the prayer closet, seeking God out. And it was interesting during that time frame, I discovered that the Lord sometimes, as I would pursue Him in the prayer closet, he would be there. He would come, and I'd sense His presence. But there was an ongoing, you could say, exchange where the Lord would come back after me, like the next day or the next week or whatever, and so we'd kind of do this ping pong effort. It was really neat. And I'm saying this out loud because I need to be reminded of this, that it's not just in the moment that you pursue Him that you get the exchange. Sometimes when you really seek Him out, you're developing a relationship, and that relationship is ongoing, and He romances you too down, the next day. But anyway, I had this wonderful dream that was as much correctional as it was profoundly informational and fun to remember. And I didn't realize it was a supernatural dream for a day or two later. And now I can't stop thinking about it, even 4 years later. So I hope it blesses you like it blessed me. So in this dream, it starts out I'm on, like, basically on the outside of this building, and I'm kind of outside in the cold with this, like on Main Street, whatever, and I'm entering in through the front door of this kind of old fashioned business building, whatever. But there's a holiday party inside, and I'm holding in my hand an invitation, and I knew that this invitation was a holiday party that where they were going to be celebrating some of the most profoundly celebrated, a top-notch, top of the top, best movie stars. And this, like, I'm thinking of movie stars in terms of from when I was a kid, 1980s, 1990s. Back then, they were movie stars weren't so, you could say they were innocently idolized back then. Um, but like they're just big, really, really, really big names. Like, I don't know, Tom Cruise or whatever, just big names from back then. And but like it's not that I thought about the names. It's more that these were my, just the fact that these were they were in the dream, they were my idols, like my movie star idols. Not my idols, I shouldn't say idols. These were the movie stars that I so much enjoyed and appreciated. I knew that they did things in the movies that I thoroughly loved and I looked up to. And I know, looking back, these were not about movie stars. These were not movie stars. These were people who did amazing things. But in the dream, they were movie stars, okay? So, anyway, I was invited to this holiday party. And I had this invitation, and I was going in through the front door, and it was kind of red carpet kind of entryway with like brass railing going up this ramp to the left. And I go in to this room, and in this room, this big, huge room, and in retrospect, the room was way bigger than the building that I came in, because you go in and then go to the left, and then to the, like, the tables they just go on and on and on to the left all the way beyond whatever. I never paid attention to how far they go. And then to the right, it's towards like the head, and that's where the more prominent high level people were. And I'm like, I stepped in there, and I'm like, I have this invitation. and an angel came up to me. Now, in my dream, I didn't pay attention to it as an angel. In retrospect, I was like, oh yeah, it was an angel. But you could say in the dream, I just processed it as like an usher, or like a. Anyway, someone ushered me to my seat, and so I sat down at my seat, and they left, and I'm awkwardly like looking around, and I'm still really nervous because all I could think about was I don't really belong here. Like, these are big names, and what am I doing at this kind of party? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm not a movie star. I'm not in the movies. I'm just a viewer. I'm an observer. Why am I here? And so when I was seated around the tables to the other side, on the other side of the tables. So, and then towards the front. So like, as I sit down, ahead of me is the entryway that I came in. To my left is the head of the table, and I'm literally probably like 50 feet away from the head. And to my right is like more like just hundreds of feet of more tables. And so I'm like, wow. Those are my movie star favorites. Like, I'm just like, wow, these people, I know these people. Like, I saw them on the screen when I was a kid. I love these people. Like, I'm just like, whoa, like, these are them. And like the biggest names, and they're just having a blast, guys. They are just cracking jokes. They're yelling, they're laughing, they're telling stories, and they're just enjoying a great time being together like they haven't been together before, like we're in a long time. And then people are coming in, and they're just jumping up and saying, "Oh, hello!" and I missed you, whatever. And they're coming in and they're hugging each other. And meanwhile, I noticed that there was like big, huge TV screens on the walls, like on the wall of the head of the room. There's a big, huge screen that I'm not really paying attention to, but on the on the side wall, right, kind of in front of me at an angle, like I can see that it's showing like some of the feature moments of the people who are here, like celebrating their highlight reels. It's basically their highlight reels of their most interesting moments. And I stopped to watch the TV screen for a minute, and I was like, wait a minute, this is like boring security footage. Like, I'm seeing like a car pulled over, and this guy walks up and he's like helping out with like giving them something, or helping out. I think they're helping with like changing out a tire or something like that. I'm like, okay, that's not very exciting moment, but okay, I'm not going to pay attention to that right now. Look at these people celebrating. So I thought that was funny. It's just funny because I didn't realize in the dream that these were not movie actors. These are people. But anyway, like people living, like I was celebrating, like I was excited about. These are people who I read about, or maybe even these are kingdom stars. These are kingdom stars. And I noticed that also, as they're just chatting, telling stories and laughing and stuff, like a lot of them are standing around talking and laughing and stuff, where they're sitting. They're also opening gifts. Like sometimes, like some of them are coming in and they've got this gift that was given to them, and I thought that maybe it was an exchange, like a gift exchange. I didn't have anything in front of me, no gifts in front of me, but these people are opening gifts, and I noticed that those gifts are very personalized, really, really personalized. And I knew that this was a really supernatural, heavenly environment somehow. At some point in my dream, it clicked, just with respect to the gift. Because when you're in a dream state, you're not really paying attention to the significance of the whole thing. But I knew for a moment in the dream that this was a supernatural environment, and that these gifts were supernatural gifts, but they were not. They were more like handcrafted, like ornate gifts. But as they opened up the gifts, like I watched somebody open up a gift, and it's almost like as they opened it up, it was this artwork that was actually like spilled out into the air, like confetti, and it had their name on it, like somehow it had their signature on it, like bouncing and dancing into the air. It was really weird, but it was almost like just like visible music or artwork or something like that with their name on it, like dancing into the air. It was really weird. I couldn't explain it. I just knew that was somehow a weird visual representation of a very personalized gift. And now in retrospect, I know that these were actually spiritual gifts, and that or really was intended to be like, this is going to be like in heaven. When we show up in heaven, like we might be given gifts that are just ornate and that they can just enjoy. But like, that's how I processed it in the dream. But anyway, as more people were coming in and exchanging stuff, I noticed at the head of the table was this is so funny. Chuck Norris was there, and in my dream, Chuck Norris was like he was in charge of the whole thing. And like he set up the whole thing. He was the host, and he was also the life of the party. So he came in, like he was over there, and he put on an apron, but it was Chuck Norris. I'm laughing because some of you younger people may not know this, but about a decade ago on the internet, it was the meme that came back over and over again: Chuck Norris jokes. Chuck Norris, because 20 years ago, Chuck Norris was in movies where maybe 25 years ago, 30 years ago, but he was in movies where it was the corniest thing, where he would do karate in the most corny way, or shoot Uzis, machine guns, and kind of like obliterate the enemy, and do the splits, and like this corniest stuff, and it was just dumb. Not literally like that, but it was just corny like that. And so the people were cracking jokes that he was basically godlike, like he could just break you just by looking at you, kind of jokes. But anyway, I'm not going to crack any Chuck Norris jokes right here, right now. But anyway, it was Chuck Norris who was at the head of the table, standing around, putting on an apron, laughing and talking with people, and just being the life of the party. And I was just amazed at this. Like, oh, there's the man. That's Chuck Norris too, among all of these other celebrities, right? These big names, but Chuck Norris is down there too. Wow. And then he turned around and like, people were coming in and bringing in the food, and so he grabs the platter or whatever, and turns, and it's like that silver cover platter, right? With the big platter with you could say it was the leg of lamb on the platter, right? But covered with the big dome shaped thing, and he would hold it up, whatever. Anyway, and it would have the knife or fork, whatever. And he would basically grab that whole platter and lift up the cover, and like from the head, at the head of the table, he would hold it out and say, "Would you like to have any food?" And so like people would just laugh and grab some food, and they would take it, and I'm like, okay, look, so he's serving us. That's great. And as I'm sitting there, while he's doing that, I look to my left and to my right. And to my left, of course, at the head of the table are the big names, the A-listers. And I noticed that the most prominent people are there. And then when I look to my right, these are, you could call them B-listers, because these are people that, like, I know that face. I've seen this face. These are people, I've seen these people in movies as well. I just don't remember their names. It's like, these are people whose names I've forgotten. They're like the support actors. They're really, like, I love these people. These are also really cool. I'm sitting right here amongst these cool support actors. Like, this is great. Like, I'm right smack in the, like, with these B-lister actors whose faces I recognize, even if I don't remember their names. But I'm not far from the A-listers. I thought that was interesting. I'm just like 50 feet, maybe, from the head of the table, maybe less, more like 30 feet from the head of the table, and then hundreds and hundreds of feet going the other way. I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I look over at this gentleman to my right. He's like, oh yeah, like I remember this guy. I just don't remember his name. Anyway, as I observe this, I'm just awed watching all this go down. Chuck Norris is one by one serving people from the front. He's making his way down the table, holding out the platter. And as he approaches me, I'm still very much distracted by what I said earlier, that why am I here? Like, what is going on with the privilege of being able to sit with these A-listers? What is going on here? And so he reaches me and holds, with a big smile on his face, and holds out the platter. And I'm like, sir, I'm sorry, there might have been a mistake. I'm not sure I'm supposed to be here. And he drops his smile. And he says, we don't talk like that around here. Eat your food. And so he reached out and grabbed some food. I put it on my plate, gratefully, and he moves on. And I eat my food. And I eat. And I'm satisfied. And the party goes on. And I'm not a party person. I felt like I've had my stay. I noticed people are coming and going. It's like a party, you know, people come, they do their thing, they go. And so I'm like, I've had my fill. I've seen the things to see. It didn't even cross my mind, not once in the dream, that I'm looking for someone here other than the big names, like, to observe. But, like, it didn't even cross my mind, like, here's a friend or whatever. Let's go see them, shake their hand, give them a hug, whatever. It didn't even cross my mind. I just knew I'm satisfied and I'm done. So I got up out of my seat. I headed towards the door and I stopped. Now, like I said, I was kind of seated further up towards the head than the door. So when I got to the door, I stopped, I turned around, and I looked, and I'm looking at more of the back of the tables, and I'm looking at these people towards the back, and I'm watching them, and I'm observing. These people are not celebrating, but they're grateful. They're being fed. They're not having a very good time, but they're grateful. And so I just knew that from there all the way to the back, more and more, like, these are people who had been invited. They're enjoying a seat, but there's nothing much about them. and it's kind of a darker area too. I noticed it's not as bright. It's more of a less, or I should say, it's less colorful area. It's just kind of a in like as I was looking at it, the area is just very black and white area. Really weird, but I can interpret that. Anybody can interpret that. I turned around and I walked out the door and woke up. Let me read some scriptures for some curious context, possible context. So here's Luke 14, 7 through 11. And Jesus began speaking a parable to the invited guests when he noticed how they had been picking out the places of honor at the table, saying to them, "When you are invited by someone to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor, for someone more distinguished than you may have been invited by him, and he who invited you both will come and say to you, 'Give your place to this man.' Then in disgrace you proceed to occupy the last place. But when you are invited, go and recline at the last place, so that when the one who has invited you comes, he may say to you, 'Friend, move up higher.' Then you will have an honor in the sight of all those who are at the table with you. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." Here's another scripture for curious possible context. Luke 12, 37 through 40. "Blessed are those slaves whom the master will find on the alert when he comes. Truly I say to you that he will gird himself to serve and have them recline at the table, and will come up and wait on them. Whether he comes in the second watch or even in the third and finds them so, blessed are those slaves. But be sure of this, that if the head of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have allowed his house to be broken into. You too, be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour that you do not expect." Some translations say where I said that he will gird himself, some translations say put on an apron. So let me read a New Living Translation. "The servants who are ready and waiting for his return will be rewarded. I tell you the truth, he himself will seat them, put on an apron, and serve them as they sit and eat. He may come in the middle of the night or just before dawn, but whenever he comes, he will reward the servants who are ready." Guys, this dream I had was not just a dream. How powerful. And needless to say, the correction that I had was to deny my belonging, to fail to recognize my being a part of the body of Christ. And that's something that God is still working on me on. To recognize that I belong. I belong with these people. The seating arrangement is another matter. But the fact that I belong at this table, and there's no mistake. It took some thinking and processing to properly appreciate and swallow the reality that I belong, that I'm in the right place. And it's intoxicating to know that I'm welcome. I'm welcome with these people. I'm welcome in the party. I'm welcome in the family. And the best thing I could do is to be among those who are out of their seats, high-fiving, hugging, celebrating everyone else, and appreciating the gifts as they're being given. And most importantly, celebrating Chuck Norris. God bless you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. We've got some time before Christmas, but God bless you guys.